Hello, everyone. This is Rebecca Keller from the DISCUS Software Company, and I'm delighted you're going to spend the next 30 minutes with me as we learn about the features and functions of the brand new release, DISCUS 2022. Going to get started in just about a minute. I want to make sure everybody can hear me. In the GoToWebinar, there is a question portion in which you can enter your questions and I'll answer them. So my first thing is, can you hear me and see my screen? It's in the question portion of the GoToWebinar. Thank you, Romel. You guys, I know this is not your first rodeo. Woohoo! All righty. Gosh, we have about 130 people signed up today. Well, and as such, I'm going to try and answer your questions. If I don't get to them, don't despair. Still put them in, and I'll try to help you. Well, what I'm going to do is, everybody already knows a lot about DISCUS, so what I'm going to do is really introduce some of the new features. One of them is called IDA, Intelligent Drawing Analysis. Now, this is very different from the OCR. You're going to see that it's dramatically changed, and I'm going to show you how to navigate through that. I'm going to show you some IDA settings. I'm going to show you a new settings menu. It's pretty easy. It came to me as a surprise. Oh, okay. But one of the things that our customers have asked is for a new customer default profile. Well, in DISCUS we have the default profile. You can add another one. Let's say you have a customer that has totally different, distinct profiles, and you'd like to hold on to those and maybe go back to the default or several ones. So I'm going to show you that. Now, the characteristic properties, there's a way to dock that over to the right, so you could dock that. That's pretty nice too. There's a kind of edit I want to show you, and kind of a new GD&T toolbar. I want to show you that as well. Those are the main features of this. But as I go through this, I'm going to show you some of my best practices. Now, I've learned the hard way. I do. And so I find what I do sometimes. Oh, you cannot hear me? Jose, you cannot hear me? The rest of you can hear me? Is that right? Can you hear me? Yeah, everyone else can hear. Okay. Sorry, I'm going to write Jose. Sorry. Everyone else, he may need to call in. Can hear, so call in. We don't want to do it without Jose. All right, thank you. I'll send privately to Jose. All right, there you go. Okay, so that is where I'm going to go with this. Now, here's my story. Now, we're going to add a drawing. Now, I'm going to add the same drawing I always add. You may have seen it a million times. I call it light print. So I'm going to add that. And the first thing I'm going to do is I want to make sure I have the right tolerance, default tolerance profile, because I have two of them. I have one that's called a customer and then my default. So make sure before you go very far, if you have a specific customer profile, you want to set that up. I'm going to start the IDA. There is a toggle that says auto balloon everything. Well, that's like throwing spaghetti against the wall. I wouldn't recommend it if you want to do it. That's fine. But one of my customers said, boy, it just looked like you threw spaghetti. So I don't like doing that. I still like having a little control. There are two ways to get this going. Once we get to start the IDA, you'll see these orange boxes, and you could double click on anything you want in any order. Or you could just select them, a bunch of them, right click and say, balloon these. You know how to enter results. I don't know that I'll have time to do that today. And export, I think you know how to do that, but that's the basic drill. I want to show you the other features too. So I know you're excited. Do ask me questions and all that stuff. All right, here we go. And, oh, by the way, I think I'm recording this. I'm pretty sure I am. So I will send you the recording of it if you would like. And also I have a get started guide, hot off the presses. I want to make sure you get that too. Okay, I'm going to right click, you know how to do this, and add a drawing. The drawing I'm going to add is that very famous light print. You've probably seen it many times. I put in my drawing revision. Okie dokie. Oh, dear God, I have the wrong. Do I have the wrong one? Shoot. Let me see. This doesn't look right at all, does it? Stop, stop. What? I launched the wrong one. Well, there it is. Here we are. Now we're launching it. All right. Stop for a second. You all forgive me, don't you? I knew you would. Okay, so we're going to launch this. And if we need to stay a little more than half an hour, if you want to give me more time or whatever, I can certainly do that. Okay. All right, so we're going to launch this. And one of the questions I had right away is, tell me about the licensing. Okay, so I will do that. Okay, I'm going to start right away with that. Oh, Eric says he doesn't forgive me. Oh, doggone it. Well, that's the price I pay. Now, there was a question straight off the bat about licensing. Under settings, here's your license information, and there's my license key, for example. But you could click Get License, enter it. Okay, got it? So right here, it's under license information. Then next thing you want to do is under licenses, under, let me go back because I want to make sure you get this. Under settings is license modules. Make sure you click everything you can. Okay, so make sure you have everything enabled, whatever you own. Got it? So I hope that answered your question. So let me go back. Here's IDA. I'm going to right click. I'm going to add my drawing, and I'm going to do light print. There it is. And I click open, and I knew this was it. And I click A for this. Now, you will want to enable the pre-processing of this drawing if you think you have a pretty good print. If you have a handwritten hot mess, don't bother. Go back to the normal way you have. Oh, that was under, write this down. Settings, license information, get license. Write that down. Then settings, license modules. Okay, goody. All right. Now, sometimes you will have sheets that you don't want to have processed. Maybe there's one that just, it's nothing for you. You don't want to have to make it go through that process. Maybe it's all bill of materials, or maybe you have a cover page. So you can select which pages you want to include. For example, this would be 1, 3 through 5, and 8, for example. And that's how you would set it up. Mine is a single page. So this is new. You can decide which pages you don't want to deal with. So that's new right there. Okay. So I'm going to click OK. And here it comes. Okay, our print is coming in a second. Here she is. All right, now I want to process this. And I'm going to click this. There you go. And then it is going to process. I'm going to click this A to create candidates. Now notice there's no OCR from notes and GD&T. They folded into one. I'm going to repeat that. There's no more, you don't have to switch between GD&T and notes anymore. Are you excited about that? I know I am. I'm hardly wait till that was gone. So I'm going to create the candidates. Now right here, if you select this one, this is the one they'll be like throwing spaghetti against the wall. It will give you, put the balloons in maybe an order you don't want them. I typically don't do it. Feel free to give it a whirl if you'd like to, but I typically don't. Right here, you want to straight away pick English or metric. Do it right away. Don't start ballooning without doing that, okay? Next, if you have a special template, and I'm going to go there in a little bit, you can select your customer template. That's very different, or the default. Okay, so you make sure you pick the right template. If you've always been using the default, that's fine. I'll show you what that means in a second. Now, here's the other thing. I'm going to click OK. Now, I have already pre-processed this, so it's pretty fast. Don't be surprised if your drawing takes about maybe 2 or 3 minutes to process. It's getting all the data. Go get a cup of coffee and come back. Okay, and it will. Now, I already pre-processed this, so it would be really fast. Okay, now I'm going to stop right here because I want to, you know how to put down your zone and grid. I would go ahead and do that as you normally do. Okay, you know how to do that. And apply. And you know how to move your grids. If I don't do this, someone always yells at me. Not yells, but you know, nervous about it. Okay, there we go. And I'll make them invisible and apply. Okay. Now, right here, under settings, we have some new stuff. I know we're going to do the IDA in a minute, but under settings, we have application settings and profile settings. Those are separated now. So let's look at application settings. Your default balloon properties are here. Remember that. Make it a 2. Don't forget to make it all existing. Make it a little chubbier if you want to. Okay. Your colors, my balloons are blue. There you go. So those are my settings. I don't have the license modules item in the settings. Eric, go to, I'm not sure. It means maybe, I don't know what license you're using. But you probably want to do license, settings, get license. Try that. And then we'll probably have support help you. Okay. Now, IDA has a couple. I want 100%, create a note. I don't want flag notes. I don't have to deal with that. If you want a flag note, go for it. I create tolerance with the data type. Okay, Phil says, can these be set to default? So every time they're set the way you want them? Yes. Set it up and then you're good to go. That's the default. That's only if you have a specific customer, and I'm going to show you that in a little bit. Create candidate with single values. And when there's a reference dimension, I would like all references to be non-reportable because it's going to automatically do that. Now, here's some advanced settings. I like a high resolution. Of course I do. Let me go back here for a little bit. There's more. When IDA detects a basic, I want it to do it. I want to create the candidate, and I want the basic to be reportable. You can choose what you want. You say, I want to ignore basics. I don't want to deal with them. Or I want it to, and I also want, for me, I want reportable. I want to enter a value. So you can look at the IDA settings and decide for yourself what you'd like to do. Okay, I'm going to go back for a minute. Go back to settings, and the other is my profile settings, and this is where I want to talk about the default settings for you, just for a minute. Now, here's my default based on my drawing. Okay, I created something called customer. His particular settings were here. You know, because this particular customer always gives me these settings, always. Every drawing is always same. So I don't want to have to go in and change my default, which is for everybody else. You could have a customer. So when you load that drawing, pick which tolerance you want right from the bat. That makes sense? Okay. And I'll send you a get started guide, and I mentioned that as well. So that's a couple things to keep in mind. All right. Now, here's what you're going to do. I'm going to show you, first of all, how to double click items, not my favorite, how to select a bunch of them and make them automatically. That's a little bit faster. And also how to deal with notes. Yeah, you can create a customer settings for all your very different customers, Phil. You could have 10, 15, as many as you want. Just make sure when you load the drawing, you pick which customer profile. Isn't that nice? Phil, we did it just for you. Okay, now here's how you're going to do it. Now, everything with a little shading means it's a candidate, but don't worry about it. You don't have to do anything with that. When we export the drawing, these little shadings are going to go away. Just ignore anything you don't want to deal with. So I'm going to zoom in, and here's how we work. Yeah, I'll zoom a little bit more. Thank you. Can you see a little bit better now? All right. With your balloon icon, you mouse over it, say ducky, and you double click. Yeah, it's brand new, Kathy, the customer profile. Double click. You see it mouses over there, double click. Over here, double click. Okay, double click. You know, so you could go in the order you want. you know, I'm going to ignore that, but watch this one. It's going to take it a second. Did I double click it? Yeah, it gave me 1, 2, and 3. Now we know about that. Now, this is kind of cool, right? That's been there for a long time, auto sub-balloon places. Okay, all right, then you can, okay, and if you've ever known me to do this drawing, do you remember always would capture that A? Do you remember that? It used to drive me nuts. Now it doesn't. So that's just double clicking. Yeah, and I'm going to show you the scale thing, Eric. Just hold on for a minute. I'll show you where the scale thing is. Okay, now the second method is this, and I'm just going to cut through a swath of this. I don't want to double click. I'm not up for it. So I click my selection arrow. I'm going to cover a band of guys. If you combine 2 candidates into one, Jesus, I don't think so. You know, if you had profile, if you had a diamond or linear, you'd still want to break those up. Okay, then right click on that. All right, let me find one. Let me go over here. Right click, and you see it says convert selected candidates to characteristics. Okay, I selected that. It's going to take it a second, and they're going to convert. Someone says, what about vertical dimensions? Well, I don't know what you mean by that, but even items that are upside down and sideways, you remember the other auto ballooning won't deal with this? This one will. I repeat it, it will do it for you. So I select a band of them, then just right click on any one of the balloons and it will do it for you automatically. And you remember, I always had to change the scale and all that. I don't have to do it anymore. These were perfect. This one and the other discus never knew that was straightness. Can I manually select multiples with the option control? It's not an option control, Maxime. It's just with your selection tool, grab a swath of these, then it highlights it, and then right click. Yeah, oh, if you don't want sub balloons, here's how you do it, sweetheart. Just right here, just turn off the auto sub balloons. Okay, just turn it off. I don't have to have it. Okay, so it's not going to do the auto sub balloons. That's your choice. All right, do you kind of get the hang of that? All right, now let's go over here, and I'm going to do some of these as well. Now, this is a little bit of a problem child for me because of the redacted. It thinks it's 2 notes. You see things are redacted and learn to ignore it, but I'll show you what we'll have to kind of do with that, and it'll be okay. All right, you can still select your icon, which is my favorite way to do it, and I'm just going to go over some of them. And yeah, this will be fine. Do you see it selects them? Then you can right click, convert selected to candidates. Ba-ba. Now this one is different. It won't happen to you because this thought it was 2 notes because of the redaction. So if that does happen and you want to do something a little different, you could do this. I'm going to show you another way how to manually balloon. I'm going to manually balloon this one because sometimes notes can be a little sticky wicket and you may not, it may not work for you, you know, the auto ballooning, but it usually does pretty well with notes. If not, press, get your balloon icon, press your shift key. Okay, I have it pressed down and I drag a rectangle around the whole thing. See that? Wait for it. I don't have to shift from notes to that anymore. Give it a second. There it is. Okay, it looks good. Thank you. I think it did. Did it go? I think it did. Let's see. Open up the characteristic properties. Okay, let's see. Oh, there's a new edit. I'll also find that. There it is. Just took it a second. You can scale it here, contrast here, rotate. So don't be afraid of that. It just took it a second to do it. Okay, I believe. Okay, so there you go. That's kind of new. All right. Did it do it? Yeah, I think so. finish Aladdin. Did it do it for me? I don't know if it did. Let me try again. Shift key. If it did. Maybe I dismissed it too soon. There it is. All right. Sorry. I went somewhere before I got a chance. Also, I want to show you something else that's new. There is a GD&T keyboard. Fasten your seatbelt. It has now degrees, plus or minus, and box separators. Don't really care about that, but there are a few new items here. But you can build your own GD&T. So I thought I'd let you know that. If things don't work out well, you can still use this concept. Do you see? Edit here and evaluate the text. Okay, I don't like that. I'm just going to keep it that way. That makes sense? Are you doing okay? All right. Now let's go back. You're doing pretty well. Okay, globally, right click to define characteristics. Let's see if I have anything. Oh yes, I want to show you the docking. I hate to tell you this, but I just found this out the other day. Open up the characteristic properties box. And right here, if you want to keep this open for whatever reason, if you click this, it docks it to the right panel. So you can keep that guy open because you may want to use him a little bit to do some editing. So that's kind of new too. You see that? So and if you want to undo that, you just undo it and you keep it over there, I think. Okay, yeah, I'll just keep them over there. It won't hurt a thing. Okay, so our main takeaways are that if it still misses something, you can balloon it the old-fashioned way, the way you know and love. Or, you know, because you could still miss a thing or two. It could happen. And also, if you want to have a little, how do you undock it? Well, my screen is a little too messed up right now, and I have to figure out how to do that. Oh, here it is. Just a minute. There you go. I have to figure out how to undock it for a second. You know, because my GoToMeeting's in the way, and I'm struggling with it. So we'll just undock it. My GoToMeeting is taking up my real estate. So right now, let me see if I can figure out. Oh, there it is right here. There it is. Figured out. That little icon there. There you go. I just had to. Auto ballooning verticals. Yes, we just did a lot of verticals. Yep. And if they're sideways, upside down, at angles, it will. These are all vertical, but if you mean at different angles or perpendicular, yeah, it will do that for you. So the other takeaway is you can double click. Notice it's a reference. And look, it said it's a reference and it's not reportable because I set that up in the IDA settings. Would you like to see that again? Settings, and we have application settings. Oh, here we are, IDA settings. And one of them was basic, reportable, and when I have a reference dimension, I want it to be not reportable. So I said, you know, you set it up to suit yourself. Okay, so you do it here. And now I'm not going to get the double balloons, you know, the 32.1 and 2. So the double clicking is real nice because you can go in the order, or I like selecting a swath of it, right click, and indicate that I want to convert those as candidates. So, and you can still do a virtual whiteout, let you know, and see anything you've missed. Control W. Those shadings here, ignore them. Unless you want to, it shows that up here. Any dimension will be there. You know you to ignore that, right? So you could go around and anything that you wanted to balloon, you still can. Okay. Can you adjust what IDA captures? Does not put the entire thread call out together, tries them as 2 items. Would you manually balloon be the only? It might be. If a thread call out, because they're all over the place, you might want to separate those, Kara. Yeah, so that is true. It does not put the entire thread call out together, tries to put them as 2 items. Can I manually change reportable? Can I manually change reportable reference, or does it make all reportables? Yeah, you can choose to have reportable as references as reportable. It's your choice. Just click it right here or in those IDA settings, Maxine. Okay, which I showed you to say I want all the I want every reference to be reportable. That's under the IDA settings. So take a look at that. Great, you're welcome. Any other questions for me? Well, I thought I would export the drawing because I'm going to show you, because I was a little concerned. I was afraid these orange things were going to come along for the ride, but I want to show you. Under File, I'm going to export the drawing to a PDF. Today is it 21 June? Imagine that. And I'll put this someplace where I can find it later should I want it. There, we put it there. Would you guys like to have a Get Started guide? I think so. I just hot off the presses, I tell you. And there you see. I did the virtual whiteout there. Bad. Control W, bring it back. There we are. Now I export it. Have you ever done that? I bet I'm the only person on the planet has ever done that, who accidentally exported with a virtual whiteout. Do you know anybody has? I know. There you go. There it is. Ta-da. So don't worry, those orange little boxes are not exported out. I was a little concerned initially, but they're not. Okay. Well, can I modify only the circle color and note have the entire? Regarding the customization, can I modify only the circle color and note have the entire balloon fill? You can choose which ones you want to fill, and that's kind of old DISCUS. So I'm going to select these. I think this is what you're asking. And if you right-click, there is the balloon properties for these 11 characters, and you could select these to have a different shape. Maybe you'd like a different color. You know, that's old stuff. And then you just I don't want this up my default, but I'll just have it, these guys do it. Okay, and close. And you can make them filled. You know, I chose not to. Okay. All right. So that is just select which ones, and that's in the old DISCUS. You can certainly do that. Okay. Any other questions for me? And to repeat, if you have a licensing issue, you can contact support, or under license information, click Get License, and I already have mine, right? And you should be good to go. And don't forget, under licenses, make sure that you have your ability. Yeah, net and spec, same, absolutely. Same old thing. You know, you can still use good old net and spec. You're under File, Export to net and spec. And I think I have errors because I didn't do anything. I have no part name. I didn't fill in the part accountability. You know, you'd want to do that. So yeah, it's the same functionality, absolutely. It just has that auto ballooning. You want to fill that in. Why did you hide the show image on export? Because I don't like them. You know, that's me. If you want the images under BOC, unclick that. Yep. When you want to manually balloon for the notes, hold the shift and drag it over the notes. That's for notes primarily. That's how they did it. And if you'd like to see that again, let me know. Fill this all in. But when you want to manually balloon anything but notes, you just go through it and balloon it like you normally do. Now, one of the things that someone was having, you don't have to worry about image resolutions anymore. No, you don't have to worry about it. Notice I didn't even darken this. You can darken it if you want to, but I didn't even bother because it didn't affect my OCR. Absolutely. So you can get your balloon icon and you do the old thing, which is drag a rectangle around it like you normally do. Wait for it. It's processing a little bit, and you do that. Then if you have to edit it, it's the old-fashioned way, go to the characteristic properties box. Okay. Oh, I did it. Okay. See, that's a little bit slower, isn't it? Yes, and I'm hoping I'm recording this, Evan, and I will make sure that I'm going to send everybody a get started guide, a tutorial, and the link to the video clip. Would you like that? Yeah, I'd be happy to do that for you. All right. So to repeat, I think we had a beautiful question, one person, and it was, let me get this out of the way. I'm going to close him out too. All right. Oh, you're very welcome. I'm glad that you liked it and you want this. So if you want to manually balloon, click your balloon, press the shift key, okay, and drag it through everything. I need to do this because it cut him in half. Not happy about that because I thought it was 2, and let go. Now just be patient, unlike me, and wait for it. Yes, Kara asked a wonderful question. Can previous TDPs go in? Yes. Anything I previously created? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's taking this a little minute to do it. Okay? Absolutely. It's backward compatible. Because we make sure. But if you get 2022, you can, if you go back and try to open a 2022 in DISCUS 11, no. That makes sense, right? Okay. Any questions for me? Okay. Everything else you know and love about DISCUS is still going to be the same, and the export and all that. So I hope this was helpful. So let me know if you have any further questions. Okay, if you balloon dimensions, it just captures, how do you bypass the candidate recognition? Just don't do it. You know, see, these are some candidates over here. You see that, Jesus? I'm ignoring them. Who cares? Just ignore them. Very good. The shift key, the significance, that's just how they programmed it. Don't ask me. Can you capture notes? I don't think you can. I tried, you know. Yes, the surface roughness. Here's something. Let me try something for you. And it's this. I'm going to pretend this is a surface roughness. Let me try something real quick, okay? I'm going to do this, just select it. I'm going to right click, and there's, it's not playing for me right now, but there is one. Let me do a couple. And there's one, and they're still working on the surface roughness. You see? Balloon that is surface roughness. Did you see that? Yes, Control W is still working, Maxine. Yeah, it sure is. Yes, that's Control, but it's a whiteout. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna do this one. Oh, Phil, you wanna see it again? So this is how you get your surface roughness. Okay, I just did that, then right click. Well, doggone it, do it again. Oh, I'll pick the right thing. And I'm gonna pretend one of these is surface roughness. Right click, wait a minute. I did it, I know I did it, I know I did it. You asked me too soon. Click, there it is. Balloon is surface roughness. I'm gonna pretend it is, okay? You know it isn't. So just select it with the selection tool, right click, and then say, I want that to be my surface roughness. Did you get that, Phil? Well, thank you so much. You're sure welcome. All right, any other questions for me? There will be a 3D demo on the new 3D also. Hopefully that was helpful to you. I certainly want to thank you for your patience, everyone, today. This is my very first little training of it. So if I made a mistake or two, please forgive me. I know one of you said you weren't going to forgive me. It's okay. But anyway, I will be sending you the Get Started Guide. I'm going to finish up the tutorial. I have a couple more pages to do. I want to get that to you, but I'm going to get this Get Started Guide to you right away in this recording, and then I will certainly get that tutorial for you as soon as I put the final touches on it. Well, bye, everybody. I hope you had fun. I certainly did, and thank you for your patience, and you are too good for words. Bye-bye. Thank you. Have a great day.